Shalom, John.
Shalom, Judith.
Welcome again to our brief overview of the parasha for this week in the Shalach-Lacha, which means to send. And it's taken from Numbers 13, verse 1 through Numbers 15, verse 41. And in my Torah, it's divided into two sections. The first section is trial and condemnation, Numbers 13, 1 through 14, 45, and various laws, fringes, Numbers 15, 1 through 41. And this is a big one. This is what determined that the Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years. What happened to them? Is this going to determine why they were in the wilderness for 40 years?
Well, there's one big thing why they were in the wilderness is because spies were sent out to spy out the land. And it's a little funny, they were sent out to spy out the land, but what they brought back was the productivity of the land, which was kind of odd. They didn't do what they wanted to do. Interesting thing, one man for each tribe went out, so 12 went out, and it gave the title to the individuals who went out. And of the 10 that came back, they gave a bad report of the land. They said basically said we couldn't conquer that land because there are giants there. And one teacher surmised that because these people had titles, these were princes, people of good reputation, they didn't want, in case they failed, well, two things, in case they failed, their stature would have been diminished into the, in the eyes of the Israeli people. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to be diminished. Another thought is, well, if they went in and conquered the land, they would probably be diminished anyway because a new governing structure would have been set up. So they probably would have been diminished either way, but they basically stirred rebellion in the group. And this was a huge sin. Huge. This was bigger than the sin of the golden calf. The golden calf didn't keep them out of the land for 40 years. So this was huge. This was getting back to the sin of Adam and Eve, where they got kicked out of the land, mm-hmm. And here they couldn't go into the land. So mm-hmm. this sin was huge, and some think, and I'm tending to believe, it was their reputation. They didn't want to lose that, and they were a little scared too. The two men who tried to encourage them to go in, one was Joshua. And the other one, I can't remember his name, but I remember the tribe.
Caleb.
Oh, Caleb, that's right, Joshua and Caleb. How could I forget? Caleb was from the tribe of Judah, tribe of Judah. And remember the interesting story about Judah. Judah was the one who wanted to sell Joseph into slavery. He wanted the money. And also, he was the one that was, as far as his daughter, I can't think of her name now. Tamar. Mm-hmm. He, had sex with her. He was supposed to give his son to Tamar. He mm-hmm. did. He showed himself to be dishonest. But in process of time, Judah learned his mistake, grew from his mistake, and it transcended down to Caleb. Mm-hmm. So instead of being, someone who sells and cheats, he became a very respectful man and said, hey, no, we can conquer this land.
We're well able.
More than able. And Joshua wasn't really Joshua's name. Joshua's name had a letter added to it, and I can't mm-hmm. remember what the letter was.
Yeshua, Yud, I believe. Yeah. Yud, Joshua, Yehoshua, his name was, getting mixed up with the translation, but his name was Yehoshua. Right. Yehoshua. Which
was an indication that something happened to him, and which he had evolved a group, and
Hosea in English.
Okay.
And I've forgotten the Hebrew. I'm sorry.
So the two men had gone through some type of radical, life-changing experience, mm-hmm. and they saw that could conquer the land, but there was 10 who could not. Was it their reputation? Was it they were going to lose something, a fear? Was it a slave mentality they were still in? But these were princes. These were people of stature. And there was probably the idea of, well, one teacher also mentioned that children, when they're raised, they may be raised where they seek out challenges, and they don't mind failing. And they relish challenges. These 10, he grouped them as they didn't relish challenge. They were, I don't want to say coddled, but they were at the point where they wanted to play it safe. They didn't want to lose, and perhaps this was their rationale.
That's interesting. Interesting, I think, that you should say it that way, that they wanted to play it safe, as opposed to going ahead and doing what God says and accepting the land. Well, and that, I think that plays into one of the things that in my Torah, and they have a number of different teachers and what they believe. And they said from the Talmud, and I thought this was interesting. It's when they said that we can't conquer it because they are giants there. The Talmud said that we cannot attack the people. They are stronger than he, meaning God.
Oh, okay.
So, in a sense, really, it's what you said, that it's the same thing that you said, I think. But their unbelief is saying that God can't do it. God can't do what he says. Last week, remember when Moses, God said, I'm going to give them meat until it's just comes through their teeth. And then Moses said to him, there's over 600,000 people. Can you provide that? And in the translation I saw, it's I think in the English it says, "Is there anything too hard for the Lord?" or something like that. But in the translation it says, "Is God's arm short?"
Oh, okay.
And I think here I would say to them, "Is God's arm short that He can't deliver you in the land against these giants?" So I think this is a profound point where Israel is at. This is certainly a profound point.
I think a telling sign may also be when the English translation doesn't do this part justice. When it says, "Go and spy out the land."
Yes.
Technically, God says, "Okay, it's your idea. It's not my idea for you to go and spy out the land. But if you want to go and spy it out, go ahead, but that's not my idea. It's your idea."
That he told him to go.
Right.
This is go and conquer the land.
Right. He told them to go and conquer the land. They wanted to go and spy it out, and he says, "Okay, if you want to, it's not necessary." And essentially, they went back and found the produce of the land, and I don't know, things went kind of downhill from there.
It did go downhill, and Israel is still suffering that fate even today, where they are out of the land.
Right.
When God says, "Go to the land,"
Right.
He is well able to conquer any giant that they could find. A lesson for today. All right, John, I think we really done a good job in these few minutes.
Well, more than a summary.
And we look forward to Shabbat when we go through the whole thing, when we really get a lot out of it, and we'll explain it and we'll upload that. Anything else?
That's it. And I hope you hear it on Shabbat.
Yes, and we'll have a Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Be still, my soul, the Lord is on thy side. Bear patiently